The twin suns of Vera 9 bathed the small human colony in warm light. Children laughed in the streets, merchants shouted their daily deals, and the smell of freshly baked bread filled the air. For most, it was just another peaceful day, but far above the atmosphere, something dark and dangerous stirred. Commander Jackson Rawle, the most feared human in the galaxy, sat in his private quarters aboard the flagship Valor's Edge, hundreds of light years away. His mind was a storm of memories and strategies. Tales of his victories and cunning had spread across star systems, whispered in fear by alien warlords and mercenaries alike. Yet today, even he could not predict the chaos that was about to unfold. On the peaceful colony of Seren IV, Jackson's daughter, Lyra Rawle, was enjoying a rare moment of freedom. She had just turned 16, an age where curiosity often outweighed caution. Her golden hair glinted in the sunlight as she ran through the market square, laughing with her friends. Little did she know that danger was already on its way. Above the colony, cloaked in the shadows of the planet's thin atmosphere, an alien ship drifted silently. Its hull was dark and jagged, designed to blend with the void of space. Inside, a team of mercenaries prepared for their mission. Their employer had promised a handsome reward, capturing the daughter of the galaxy's most feared human. None of them knew that their prey was not an ordinary human girl. Lyra wandered toward the edge of the market, her curiosity leading her toward the river that cut through the colony. She paused for a moment, looking at the sunlight reflecting on the water, and felt a strange sense of calm. She had inherited her father's sharp mind and keen instincts, though she had yet to face a true test of them. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet trembled slightly. Merchants shouted warnings, but Lyra barely noticed. In an instant, a strange, shimmering net shot out from the shadows, wrapping around her. She struggled, but the material was unlike anything she had ever felt. Stronger than steel, lighter than silk. Panic surged through her as she realized she could not escape. From the shadows, alien figures emerged. Their armor gleamed faintly under the sunlight, and their faces were hidden behind dark visors. Lyra tried to scream, but one of the aliens pressed a small device against her mouth, emitting a high-pitched hum that blocked her voice. Within seconds, she was lifted into the hovering ship and whisked away from the only home she had ever known. Back on Valor's Edge, Jackson's comm system flickered. A secure transmission from the Seren IV colony appeared. He immediately recognized the signature. It was Lyra's personal emergency beacon, a device only she carried. The moment he saw the signal, his calm exterior shattered. "Lyra!" Jackson's voice thundered through the bridge. Crew members instinctively froze. Jackson was not a man to be interrupted in his fury. "Prepare a full tactical scan. Trace that signal immediately. I want every ship in range ready to launch." The bridge officers moved quickly, knowing the consequences of failure. Jackson's reputation was not just for fear. It was for the truth behind it. Humans had survived impossible odds and conquered challenges that other species could not imagine. And yet this was different. This was personal. Meanwhile, aboard the alien ship, Lyra struggled to free herself. Her captors underestimated her. She was not just a frightened child. She was resourceful, quick-thinking, and determined. As the ship moved through the upper atmosphere and into space, she observed the control panel of her temporary prison. The symbols were alien, but the logic of technology was universal. If she could figure out even one weak point, she might create an opportunity to escape. One of the mercenaries spoke in a harsh, clicking language. Another translated quickly, "Keep her sedated. Commander Zorlok wants her alive, but she must not communicate with anyone. If humans find out, it will ruin our plan." Lyra's heart raced, but fear gave way to determination. Her father had taught her self-defense, observation, and patience. She would need all of those lessons to survive. She silently examined the ship's layout in her mind, memorizing corridors, doors, and potential exits. Back on the colony, panic spread quickly. Citizens who had once admired human settlers now feared for Lyra's life. Yet even in terror, whispers spread. Humans always found a way. Rumors of her father's deeds circulated. How he had defended entire systems with only a few ships. How he had outsmarted mercenaries and warlords. And how his enemies had learned that no human should ever be underestimated. In the void of space, the alien ship accelerated toward the Zorath Nebula, a treacherous region known for its gravitational anomalies and unpredictable storms. Their plan was clear: use the nebula's natural dangers to prevent any human rescue. But they had not accounted for the relentless nature of humans. Jackson did not wait. He activated the Valor's Edge's hyperdrive and set course for Serenna 4. As the flagship leapt into hyperspace, his mind raced through possibilities, strategies, and contingencies. Every alien in the galaxy had made one mistake, underestimating the human's determination when family was threatened. Hours later, Lyra's captors finally allowed her to rest in a small containment chamber. It was designed for comfort enough to keep her alive, yet restrictive enough to prevent escape. Lyra sat quietly, listening to the hum of the ship's engines. She knew her father would come for her. He always did, and far away in the cold darkness of space, Jackson Rahl prepared a response that would make the galaxy remember once again why humans were not just survivors. They were unstoppable when driven by purpose and love. The abduction was complete, but the hunt had only just begun. Every human in the galaxy who had ever doubted the courage and cunning of their species would soon witness it firsthand. And the aliens who thought they could use fear to control a human, they were about to discover the true meaning of underestimating humanity. As the ship disappeared into the stars, Lyra's eyes hardened. She might be captive, but she was not powerless. Every step she took, every observation she made, would be a thread in the plan to survive and perhaps even turn the tables on her captors. Above all, she remembered her father's words. Never doubt a human, Lyra. We fight not just with strength but with heart, mind, and will, and when we fight for family, nothing can stop us. The stars stretched endlessly before her, but she did not feel fear. She felt the spark of hope and a rising determination. The daughter of the most feared human in the galaxy was far from defeated. The stars streaked past the Valor's Edge as it surged through hyperspace. Commander Jackson Rahl stood at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic map hovering before him. Every blinking dot, every colored line represented a system, a possible route, a potential threat. Yet all of that mattered little compared to one single goal: rescuing his daughter. Lyra. "Sir," Lieutenant Mara Voss said, her voice steady but edged with concern, "we've detected an anomaly along the trajectory. Energy readings are consistent with the type of ship that took Lyra. It's moving toward the Zorath Nebula." Jackson's jaw tightened. The Zorath Nebula was a dangerous region, even for the most experienced pilots. Gravity storms, plasma fields, and magnetic turbulence made navigation treacherous. "Plot a course that will intercept them before they enter the nebula," he ordered. "And ready the strike pods. I want options, not just plans." The crew moved with precision. Humans had built their reputation in part because of their discipline under pressure, and Jackson's fleet was no exception. Ships that had fought and survived countless battles now prepared for another, this time for a rescue mission that was personal. Meanwhile, aboard the alien ship, Lyra remained alert. Her captors had underestimated her resourcefulness. She had studied the ship's controls and memorized the corridors, noting security cameras, guard rotations, and even the tiny vents in the ceilings. She had no weapons, but her mind was her greatest asset. Lyra whispered to herself, "I may be trapped, but I'm not helpless." Not yet. In the hours that followed, Jackson's fleet detected the alien ship jumping toward the edge of the nebula. They followed at a safe distance, careful not to reveal their presence. Jackson knew that aliens rarely acted alone. There would be ambushes, traps, and deception waiting for them. But humans thrived under pressure. Where others saw obstacles, humans saw opportunity. The fleet made its first stop at Arden Prime, a neutral trade hub near the nebula's border. Jackson needed supplies, intelligence, and allies. In the crowded spaceport, humans moved with a confidence that drew attention. They were warriors, yes, but they were also diplomats, negotiators, and tacticians. Jackson met with Tavik Orlan, a former pirate now turned information broker. Tavik had once fought against humans but had learned the hard way that underestimating them was a mistake. "I hear you're looking for a girl," Tavik said cautiously, glancing at the towering human commander. "Rumor has it she's worth more than all the credits in this sector." "Worth more than credits?" Jackson asked, his voice low and dangerous. "She is worth everything to me." "I need to know where they are taking her." Tavik hesitated, then handed over a holomap. "The ship is heading for a fortress in the Zorath Nebula. Dangerous territory. No one who enters comes back the same. You'll need more than ships. You'll need strategy, cunning, and Luck, Jackson nodded, pocketing the map. Luck was for those who could not plan. Humans did not rely on luck. They created it. As the Valor's Edge left Arden Prime, Lyra's mind was also racing. She noticed the subtle patterns in the alien guards' routines and discovered a small hatch leading to a maintenance corridor. If she timed it right, she could slip through undetected. Every moment of observation increased her chances of survival. She was her father's daughter, after all, and humans did not give up. Hours passed as the fleet navigated closer to the nebula. The ships formed a careful perimeter, sensors scanning for the alien vessel. Humans had learned to adapt, using alien tactics against them, predicting their moves and exploiting weaknesses. Jackson reviewed the plan with his officers, discussing multiple contingencies, escape routes, and potential traps. The alien ship, unaware of the pursuing fleet, approached the outer edge of the nebula. Its crew believed they were safe. They had underestimated humans, as always. They did not know that Jackson Rahl was not only a brilliant commander, but also a father whose fury was unmatched. Inside the alien ship, Lyra decided it was time to act. She waited for the guards to pass her cell, then slipped into the maintenance hatch. The corridor was narrow, dimly lit, and filled with the hum of machinery. Her heart pounded, but fear did not paralyze her. She moved carefully, marking her progress in her mind. Meanwhile, Jackson's fleet entered the nebula cautiously. Plasma storms lashed against the shields. Gravity waves threatened to throw ships off course, and alien mines floated silently, ready to detonate. Yet the humans pressed forward. Their ships were fast, their maneuvers precise, and their crews unflinching. Where other species might falter, humans excelled under pressure. Suddenly, sensors picked up the alien ship. "There!" Mara shouted. "Target locked. They haven't detected us yet." Jackson's eyes narrowed. "Good, keep it that way. We don't need a fight yet, not when the real goal is to get Lyra back." Back inside the alien ship, Lyra had reached a junction. 2 doors lay ahead, one leading deeper into the fortress, the other toward the engine room. She remembered her observations. Guards rarely went near the engine room. That would be her chance. Quietly, she slipped inside, moving silently past humming machinery and glowing conduits. Suddenly, an alien guard turned a corner. Lyra froze. The creature's glowing eyes scanned the corridor. Her pulse raced. Then, using a small metal rod she had found in the hatch, she triggered a nearby control panel. Sparks flew, drawing the guard away. Timing and quick thinking saved her. She had evaded capture once again. In the nebula, human ships were preparing a careful ambush. Jackson had learned that brute force was not always the answer. Strategy, intelligence, and patience were far more effective. Using the nebula's natural hazards, they could mask their approach, confuse the enemy, and gain the upper hand. Hours turned into tense moments. Lyra navigated the alien ship's corridors, always alert, always calculating. She left subtle clues, broken panels, moved objects for anyone who might follow. Even in captivity, she found ways to exert control, a hallmark of human ingenuity. Jackson watched the nebula unfold through the bridge's view screen. He spoke softly to Mara. "We cannot rush in blindly. Patience is our weapon. Timing is everything. And my daughter, she is counting on us." Mara nodded. "She's strong, sir." "Like you." Jackson allowed himself a small, grim smile. "She has to be. Humans survive because we refuse to surrender. We fight with everything we have and more, especially when it's family." As the alien ship entered the inner region of the nebula, sensors detected gravitational anomalies, forcing it to slow down. It was a dangerous mistake. Jackson's fleet adjusted their approach, using the hazards to conceal their movements. They were closing in silently, carefully, but relentlessly. Inside the alien ship, Lyra had reached the engine room. The hum of power filled the space. She studied the controls, trying to understand the ship's propulsion and navigation. She might not be able to pilot it, but she could sabotage it if needed. Small actions now could buy her precious time. Suddenly, alarms blared. The aliens had detected something, an intruder in the maintenance corridors. Lyra froze, then ducked behind a console. A patrol appeared, weapons ready. Her mind raced. She had one chance. Using her knowledge of the ship's systems, she triggered a temporary power fluctuation. Lights flickered, security doors locked momentarily, and the patrol was forced to investigate elsewhere. Lyra exhaled quietly. She had survived another moment, but she knew this was only the beginning. The real challenge was yet to come. Above the nebula, Jackson's fleet continued to close the distance. Every ship, every crew member was operating at peak efficiency. They had studied alien tactics, adapted to environmental hazards, and learned from every encounter. Humans were not just hunters, they were problem solvers, strategists, and relentless pursuers. Jackson's mind was focused, but one thought remained at the center. Lyra must survive. No matter what. Hours later, as the alien ship slowed near a hidden fortress within the nebula, Lyra paused. She was close to the heart of their operation, and the danger was increasing. Yet she felt a flicker of hope. She was not alone. Humans were coming, and they never failed when it counted most. The Zorth Nebula loomed like a living entity, swirling clouds of plasma and shadows hiding its secrets. Deep within its heart, the alien fortress glinted faintly through the cosmic haze. Jackson Rawls' fleet hovered at a calculated distance, scanning, observing, and waiting. Brute force alone would not succeed here. Strategy, patience, and precise timing were their true weapons. "Sir," Lieutenant Maravos said, "we've mapped several entry points into the fortress. Each one is heavily guarded, but the northern maintenance shaft seems to be the least monitored." Jackson studied the holographic display. "Northern shaft it is. We'll move in quietly. The fortress's defenses are strong, but humans are smarter than they assume. Remember, it's not just about firepower, it's about thinking faster than your opponent." The crew worked in near-perfect synchronization, setting sensors to detect patrols, monitoring communication frequencies, and preparing strike pods to deploy at a moment's notice. Humans were relentless when it came to planning. Every possible scenario had been considered, every contingency mapped out. Meanwhile, inside the alien fortress, Lyra Rawl moved with quiet determination. She had memorized the corridors, studied the guards' routines, and even found a small toolkit left unattended by careless aliens. Though young, she had inherited her father's mind, analyzing, calculating, and predicting. Every step she took was deliberate, every decision measured. Lyra paused outside a reinforced door. Through a tiny vent, she could hear alien voices speaking in sharp clicks and hisses. They were discussing the arrival of the humans as if they anticipated Jackson's approach. Lyra's pulse quickened, not with fear but with anticipation. If they thought her father's reputation alone could intimidate them, they were wrong. She used her small toolkit to unlock a maintenance panel next to the door. Sparks flew, but the mechanism clicked open. Silently, she slipped inside, finding herself in a corridor leading toward the fortress's command center. She would need patience and precision. Rushing would lead to certain capture. Back in space, Jackson's fleet carefully navigated the nebula's hazards. Plasma storms lashed at shields. Gravitational distortions threatened to pull ships off course, but humans adapted. Where alien technology faltered, human ingenuity prevailed. Shields were reinforced, engines recalibrated, and every maneuver executed with flawless timing. "Strike pods ready," Mara reported. "Waiting for your command, sir." "Hold," Jackson replied. "We'll deploy only when we have complete intelligence on guard rotations. Timing is everything. Patience is our advantage." In the fortress, Lyra reached a junction leading toward the central security hub. From there, she could disable cameras, unlock doors, and potentially create chaos for her captors. She observed an alien patrol passing and then slipped into a small alcove, heart-pounding but mind-focused. Humans thrived under pressure. They turned fear into strategy, and Lyra was no exception. She discovered a control panel and began experimenting with the alien interface. Symbols and lights flickered, but logic was universal. With a few careful manipulations, she triggered a temporary power fluctuation, causing several cameras to go offline. It was a small victory, but it bought her precious time. Above the fortress, Jackson observed sensor feeds showing the alien patrols moving. "They're predictable," he muttered. "Every species has patterns. Humans just notice them faster." He issued orders to deploy a reconnaissance drone into the fortress's outer perimeter. The drone was small, silent, and equipped with advanced sensors. Its feed revealed a narrow maintenance shaft that would allow a small strike team to enter undetected. "Team Alpha, prepare for insertion," Jackson commanded. "We go in quietly, disable the perimeter defenses, and establish a foothold. Lyra is inside, keep her safe. She is the most important target." The strike pods descended, gliding silently toward the fortress's northern shaft. Inside, Lyra paused again, hearing subtle mechanical sounds. Doors sliding, guards shifting, footsteps approaching. She ducked into a side corridor, keeping her presence hidden. Timing was crucial. A single mistake could cost her freedom, or her life. As Team Alpha entered the shaft, Jackson watched through remote sensors, coordinating every move. Humans had always excelled at improvisation, and even if the fortress's layout changed or unexpected defenses appeared, his team could adapt. Inside the fortress, Lyra found herself in a storage chamber. Supplies, alien equipment, and strange devices were scattered everywhere. She noticed a small ventilation grate leading toward a central corridor. Crawling through, she felt a spark of hope. Every obstacle she overcame was another step toward freedom. Suddenly, a guard turned a corner. Lyra froze, holding her breath. The alien paused, sensing something, then continued. She exhaled quietly. Every narrow escape strengthened her resolve. Humans did not surrender. They adapted, they endured, and they fought. Meanwhile, Team Alpha reached the maintenance shaft's exit. Jackson's voice crackled through their comms. Move carefully. Disable the outer security systems first. We need a clear path for extraction. The team advanced with precision. Explosives were placed to disable surveillance nodes. Doors were hacked, and the narrow corridors allowed them to remain mostly undetected. Every move demonstrated the HFY principle. Humans did not rely solely on weapons. They relied on intelligence, creativity, and determination. Inside the fortress, Lyra reached the edge of the central corridor. She could see guards stationed at various points patrolling methodically. Using shadows and timing, she moved silently, leaving small clues behind. Shifted objects, slightly open doors, to mislead anyone who might track her. She was turning the fortress itself into an ally. Jackson's team advanced cautiously, disabling outer defenses one by one. Sensors indicated Lyra's approximate location. Every step forward brought the possibility of reunion closer, but also increased danger. Humans were fearless, not reckless. They relied on planning as much as courage. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the fortress. One of the alien patrols had discovered a power fluctuation, Lyra's small sabotage. Guards began to converge on the corridors. Lyra pressed herself into the shadows, her heart pounding but her mind clear. Humans thrived under pressure, and she had been trained to think fast. Team Alpha heard the alarm and adjusted their movements. Stay calm, Jackson's voice instructed. Predict their reactions. Use their panic against them. Humans always turn danger into opportunity. Lyra seized the moment. She used a small alien tool to jam a door, delaying the pursuing guards. Then she sprinted down a side corridor toward the command center, where she could find more control panels, disable defenses further, and perhaps signal her father's team. Every step demonstrated her resilience and cunning, traits that had made humans feared across the galaxy. Outside, Jackson coordinated the fleet to provide distraction. Drones launched into the nebula's outer perimeter, triggering false alerts and drawing alien reinforcements away from critical points. Timing, strategy, and improvisation, human qualities that aliens often underestimated, were now turning the tide. Lyra reached a junction near the central hub. Two guards were stationed nearby, facing each other. She noticed a loose cable running along the floor. Carefully, she manipulated it, causing a spark that drew the guards' attention momentarily. Using their distraction, she slipped past into a secure corridor leading directly toward the command center. Jackson watched the sensors and smiled faintly. She's clever, he muttered. Just like her father. Inside the fortress, Lyra now faced her biggest challenge yet. The door to the command center was heavily reinforced, with complex alien security measures. But humans excelled at problem-solving under pressure. She studied the panels, analyzing patterns and testing sequences. Minutes felt like hours, but patience was her ally. With careful calculation, she triggered a sequence that unlocked the door temporarily. It would hold for only a few minutes, but it was enough. She slipped inside, heart racing, and immediately began scanning the control systems. Cameras, alarms, and security protocols were vulnerable if she acted quickly. Outside, Team Alpha had reached a secondary checkpoint. Jackson's voice guided them. Synchronize your movements with her actions. Keep communication secure. Our advantage is timing and intelligence. Lyra worked swiftly, bypassing alien security systems and creating small disruptions throughout the fortress. Doors locked and unlocked, cameras went offline, and confusion spread among the alien forces. She was turning the enemy's fortress into chaos, all without firing a shot. Every success, every small victory reminded her of one truth: humans were not easily defeated. They adapted, endured, and fought with a combination of courage and intelligence that few species could match. And Lyra, the daughter of the most feared human in the galaxy, was living proof of that legacy. As chaos spread through the fortress, Jackson's team prepared to move deeper, closing the distance between them and Lyra. The hunt was nearing its climax, but the challenges ahead would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of human determination. The fortress trembled under the weight of strategy, intelligence, and relentless courage. And in its heart, Lyra Rawl pressed on, determined, fearless, and unstoppable. The daughter of a legend was about to change the game entirely. The Zorath Nebula churned violently around the alien fortress. Bright streaks of plasma flashed against dark clouds, illuminating the jagged silhouette of the stronghold. Inside, confusion spread like wildfire. Alarms blared, doors locked and unlocked unpredictably, and the alien forces scrambled to respond to a threat they could not fully see. Lyra Rawl crouched behind a reinforced console, her hands moving quickly over the alien controls. Cameras flickered off, turrets misfired, and security drones malfunctioned. Every small disruption she caused brought her closer to freedom. She had inherited her father's mind, a combination of sharp intelligence, patience, and fearlessness. Even as danger closed in, she remained focused. Far above the fortress, Commander Jackson Rawl watched through sensor feeds. His piercing eyes scanned the fortress, noting patrol patterns, weapon positions, and weak points. The human strike team, Team Alpha, had infiltrated the maintenance shaft and was preparing to move deeper. Timing was critical. One wrong move and the mission could fail. Team Alpha. Jackson's voice crackled over comms, calm but commanding. Move to positions. Synchronize with Lyra's signals. Remember, she is the key. Keep her safe, and the rest will follow. The strike pods glided silently along narrow corridors, disabling doors and security devices as they advanced. Humans relied not only on firepower but on strategy, observation, and adaptability. Every alien obstacle was met with a countermeasure, every trap with a clever solution. Inside the fortress, Lyra approached the central holding chamber. Through a small vent, she could see the alien guards stationed outside. Her heart raced, but fear did not control her. Humans had survived far worse than this. She examined the door controls, calculating the timing of patrols and the power cycles of the locking mechanisms. Suddenly, one guard turned toward her vent. Lyra pressed herself flat, holding her breath. The alien sniffed the air, eyes glowing faintly, then continued walking. Lyra exhaled quietly. She had survived another moment by using observation and patience, skills humans honed to perfection. At the same moment, Team Alpha reached the perimeter of the holding chamber. Jackson's orders were precise. Enter quietly, disable the guards, and extract Lyra. Explosions and loud attacks would come later. For now, stealth was the weapon of choice. One by one, the team moved into position. Using silent weapons and non-lethal takedowns, they incapacitated the outer guards without alerting the entire fortress. Every move demonstrated humans' ability to think, adapt, and strike with efficiency. Lyra carefully manipulated the door lock. A low click signaled success. She slipped out of her holding cell just as Team Alpha breached the outer corridor. The reunion was near, but danger remained. As the strike team and Lyra converged, an alarm finally blared throughout the fortress. A security drone had detected the disturbance. Aliens poured into the hallways, blasters drawn. The narrow corridors became a chaotic battlefield. Jackson's fleet, observing from above, reacted instantly. Small craft descended to provide support, disabling perimeter weapons and creating safe exit routes. Humans fought not only with weapons but with strategy and coordination, turning the alien fortress into a maze of confusion for its defenders. Lyra ran alongside Team Alpha, her heart pounding with adrenaline. She had never fired a weapon in combat, but her knowledge of the fortress, her timing, and her intelligence made her as dangerous as any trained soldier. Every step she took was a step closer to freedom. The strike team reached a heavily reinforced door, the final barrier between them, and open corridors leading to the extraction point. Lyra studied the control panel and noticed a weak point in the energy flow. With a few precise adjustments, she disabled the locking mechanism. The door hissed open. As they moved through the corridors, alien reinforcements appeared from side passages. Team Alpha and Lyra fought with a combination of careful planning and human ingenuity. They used the environment to their advantage, collapsing scaffolding using energy conduits as distractions, and turning narrow hallways into traps for the pursuing aliens. Jackson's voice guided them through comms. Left corridor. Use the maintenance hatch as cover. Exit is 30 meters ahead. Stay together. Keep moving. The group followed his instructions flawlessly. Humans excelled at adaptation, and under Jackson's guidance, even the chaotic and unpredictable environment of the alien fortress was no match for their determination. They reached the extraction point, a docking bay where Jackson's shuttle was waiting. The team quickly set charges to block the aliens' pursuit. Explosions rocked the bay, metal groaning as debris fell around them. Yet humans thrived under pressure. They were relentless, intelligent, and courageous. Lyra climbed aboard the shuttle, breathless but determined. Her eyes met Jackson's on the view screen, and she allowed herself a brief smile. She had survived, adapted, and fought using the skills her father had instilled in her. Humans were more than warriors. They were thinkers, strategists, and survivors. The shuttle lifted off just as alien reinforcements poured into the docking bay. Blaster fire lit up the corridor, but the humans were already gone, retreating toward the safety of Jackson's fleet. Above the fortress, the ships formed a protective perimeter, guiding the shuttle through the nebula's hazards. Jackson spoke calmly but with authority. "Lyra, are you unharmed?" "Yes, Father," she replied, her voice steady. "I'm fine." The aliens were unprepared for humans. Jackson allowed himself a brief nod of pride. "Good. You showed ingenuity, courage, and patience. That is what makes humans strong. Remember, survival is not just about strength, it's about thinking, adapting, and never giving up." The fleet navigated the dangerous nebula, dodging plasma storms and gravitational anomalies. The alien fortress was left behind, a testament to the humans' intelligence and coordination. Even the most heavily defended strongholds could not withstand the combination of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. Lyra looked out the viewport at the swirling colors of the nebula. She felt a sense of pride, not only for surviving but for contributing to her own rescue. Humans were remarkable because they adapted, persevered, and fought with heart and mind. She had learned that lesson firsthand. Back on the Valor's edge, Jackson debriefed Team Alpha. Every step of this mission was executed perfectly, not because we had superior numbers or firepower, but because humans are relentless problem solvers. We adapt, we endure, and we protect what matters most. Lyra, you did exceptionally well. Your training paid off. Lyra smiled quietly, feeling the weight of her father's words. Humans were not merely feared, they were respected because of their courage, intelligence, and determination. She had experienced the best and worst of danger, and she had emerged stronger. As the fleet left the nebula behind, Jackson turned to his officers. The galaxy will remember this day. They underestimated humans. They underestimated me. And they underestimated my daughter. Let this be a warning. Humans are not easily defeated, and when family is threatened, nothing can stop us. The rescued daughter, the legendary commander, and the elite strike team had survived against overwhelming odds. But beyond the action and danger, a deeper truth had emerged. Humans thrived because of intelligence, adaptability, and unbreakable resolve. The galaxy might fear them, but it also had to respect them. Lyra sat quietly, reflecting on the events of the past hours. She had faced danger, used her mind, and survived with courage. Humans were more than warriors, they were thinkers, survivors, and protectors. And she, as the daughter of the most feared human in the galaxy, had proven herself a worthy part of that legacy. The stars stretched endlessly outside the shuttle, but for Lyra, the horizon was filled with hope. She had survived, adapted, and contributed, and she knew one day she would face even greater challenges. But for now, the mission was a success, and the galaxy had witnessed the true power of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and an unyielding will to protect what mattered most. The stars outside the shuttle stretched into long streaks as Lyra Rawl and the human fleet emerged from the perilous Zorath Nebula. The alien fortress, once a symbol of fear and power, now lay behind them, crippled by chaos and confusion. Lyra looked out at the vast expanse of space, her mind replaying every moment of her harrowing experience. She had survived, she had fought, and she had contributed to her own rescue. Commander Jackson Rawle stood on the bridge of the Valor's Edge, arms crossed, his gaze sweeping across the stars. Even after decades of victories and countless battles, the mission had reaffirmed what he already knew. Humans were not just survivors. They were problem solvers, fighters, and protectors. And above all, humans were relentless when it came to family. Lyra joined her father on the bridge, her expression both proud and determined. "Father," she said, "I never realized how much strategy and planning mattered in a fight. I thought strength was the most important thing, but intelligence, patience, timing, it all matters more than I knew." Jackson smiled faintly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "That's right, Lyra. Humans survive because we adapt. We observe, we learn, and we act with purpose. Strength alone does not win battles. Intelligence, courage, and determination do. And you, my daughter, have shown all of those today." Back in the fleet, Team Alpha debriefed quietly, cleaning their weapons and repairing minor damage from the mission. The aliens had been formidable, but humans had outsmarted them at every turn. Every obstacle had been met with careful observation, quick thinking, and teamwork. In every galaxy where humans were feared, it was not only because of their firepower, it was because of their ingenuity, bravery, and unyielding resolve. Lyra reflected on the lessons she had learned. She had been terrified at times, but fear had never controlled her. Every step, every decision had been guided by logic, observation, and courage. She had inherited her father's skills, but she had also learned that humans were more than warriors. They were thinkers, survivors, and protectors. As the fleet approached Seren IV, the home colony, news of the successful rescue spread quickly. Citizens cheered as the humans returned victorious, not only for bringing Lyra back safely, but for demonstrating that humans could outwit even the most advanced alien forces. Rumors of Jackson's reputation had always been legendary, but now, the story of his daughter's cleverness and bravery joined the tale. In the aftermath of the rescue, Jackson held a council with leaders from allied systems. Holographic maps displayed alien strongholds, trade routes, and intelligence reports. "The galaxy must understand one thing," Jackson declared. "Humans are not easily defeated. We fight with strength, intelligence, and courage. We protect what matters most, and we adapt to any challenge. Let today serve as a warning to anyone who thinks otherwise." The council members nodded, many of them impressed and, in some cases, fearful. They had heard stories of humans before, but seeing the combination of strategy, courage, and precision firsthand was something entirely different. Lyra's actions alongside her father and Team Alpha had made the point unmistakably clear. Lyra spent the next days recovering and learning. She reviewed every detail of the mission with her father, analyzing what worked, what could have gone wrong, and how humans had turned adversity into opportunity. Every lesson reinforced the qualities that made humans exceptional: creativity, patience, courage, and determination. One evening, Lyra and Jackson stood together on a balcony overlooking the colony. Children played in the streets below, unaware of the events that had unfolded beyond the atmosphere. "Father," Lyra said softly, "do you think the aliens will try again?" Jackson shook his head. "They may try, but they will hesitate. Humans are patient, clever, and relentless. We don't just fight, we think, we adapt, and we endure. And now, you have proven that even the next generation carries that legacy." Lyra looked at the horizon, determination in her eyes. "I want to be like you someday, Father. Not just a warrior, but someone who can outthink and outmaneuver any challenge." Jackson smiled, proud. "You already are, Lyra. You learned quickly, acted decisively, and contributed to your own rescue. That is the heart of humanity. We survive, we protect, and we endure. And when family is at stake, nothing, not even the deadliest aliens, can stop us." The galaxy, for all its vastness, had learned a powerful lesson. Aliens who sought to exploit humans now understood something fundamental. Strength alone would not defeat them. Humans combined courage, intelligence, adaptability, and unyielding will into a force that few could challenge. And when family was involved, that force became unstoppable. Word of the rescue spread far beyond Seren IV. Across systems, humans were spoken of with a mix of fear and respect. Tales of Lyra's bravery and ingenuity joined the legends of her father. Young humans in distant colonies were inspired. learning that courage, intelligence, and moral strength were as important as any weapon. Even the aliens who had captured Lyra reconsidered their actions. They had underestimated humans, not just Jackson Rawl, but the species as a whole. Every system that had doubted humanity now had to acknowledge a simple truth. Humans thrived because they adapted, they endured, and they protected what mattered most. Lyra stood at the edge of the balcony, feeling the wind from the twin suns of Vera 9 on her face. She had survived the impossible, contributed to her own rescue, and discovered the true meaning of human strength. Humans were clever, brave, and resilient, and they never gave up when the stakes were highest. Jackson joined her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Remember, Lyra," he said, his voice steady. "The galaxy may test us, challenge us, and underestimate us. But humans endure because we think, we adapt, and we fight for what matters. You've proven that you carry the same legacy. One day you will inspire others as well." Lyra nodded, a quiet smile forming. "I will, Father. I promise. I will protect, endure, and never back down. Just like you." The stars above stretched endlessly, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges that lay ahead. Yet humans faced it all with intelligence, courage, and unbreakable resolve. Today, the galaxy had witnessed the true power of humanity, not through weapons alone, but through strategy, adaptability, and heart. In the coming years, humans would continue to expand, explore, and thrive. Their reputation would grow not only for their fearsome combat abilities, but for their ingenuity, resilience, and moral strength. Aliens would learn to respect humans, not just fear them, because they had seen firsthand how a single human, and now a new generation represented by Lyra, could change the course of events through cleverness, courage, and determination. And as Lyra looked toward the future, she understood the truth her father had always known. Humans were unstoppable, not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, adaptable, and willing to fight for what they loved. And in that fight, they would always endure. The galaxy would remember the day Lyra Rawl, daughter of the most feared human in the galaxy, survived impossible odds, outsmarted her captors, and contributed to a victory that showcased the indomitable spirit of humanity. Jackson watched his daughter, pride swelling in his chest. The legacy of human ingenuity, courage, and endurance had been proven once again. The galaxy had received its warning. Humans fight with intelligence, bravery, and heart, and when they fight for family, nothing can stop them. As the fleet continued toward Seren IV, Lyra knew this was only the beginning. Her journey, like humanity's, would continue to face challenges. But armed with courage, intelligence, and the lessons of survival, she would face them all. She was human, and humans never gave up. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but humans would always reach farther, adapt faster, and endure longer than any alien in the galaxy could imagine. And the legend of Lyra Rawl would join the timeless stories of her father, a reminder of the true strength of humanity.